One day of effort impresses people, but 1 week of excuses erases it. The truth is, nobody remembers why you couldn't do it. They only remember whether you did or you didn't. We live in a world where everyone has a reason: busy, tired, not the right time, too much pressure. And sometimes those reasons are real. But respect is not built on reasons. It is built on repetition. The person who keeps showing up quietly will always outgrow the person who keeps explaining loudly. Because life is not listening to what we promise, it is watching what we repeat every single day. Respect is earned through consistent effort, not repeated explanations. The world is not moved by how well someone can explain themselves. It is moved by what they can be counted on to do. Explanations may sound reasonable, even convincing, but they lose their power when they are repeated without change. Over time, words grow thin while patterns grow loud. People begin to trust what they see regularly, not what they are told occasionally. Everyone encounters moments when showing up feels heavy, when circumstances seem unfair, when effort goes unnoticed. The difference between those who are respected and those who are dismissed is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of persistence. The world understands hardship, but it honors resilience. It does not expect perfection, but it does expect follow-through. Repeated explanations often signal something deeper than circumstance. They reveal hesitation, inconsistency, or avoidance. A single explanation can be honest. A pattern of explanations begins to sound like justification. Over time, people stop listening, not because they lack compassion, but because credibility has been eroded. Trust is built when action becomes predictable, when effort can be relied upon regardless of conditions. Consistent effort creates a reputation long before success arrives. It tells others that this is someone who shows up, someone who does not disappear when things become uncomfortable, someone whose word carries weight because it is backed by behavior. That reputation is not claimed. It is observed. No one has to announce consistency. It introduces itself quietly through repetition. Many people underestimate how closely they are being watched. Not watched with judgment, but with memory. People remember patterns. They remember who follows through and who fades away. They remember who keeps improving and who keeps explaining. Over time, respect settles where reliability lives. It does not settle where excuses gather. Excuses can sound intelligent. They can be wrapped in logic, emotion, and even truth. But even true excuses lose their influence when they replace effort. The world does not reward someone for understanding why they fell short. It responds when they stand up and try again. Growth demands action, not articulation. Consistent effort does something explanations never can. It creates progress. Even slow progress carries more authority than perfect reasoning without movement. A person who improves steadily earns respect not because they are flawless, but because they are faithful. Faithful to learning. Faithful to responsibility, faithful to the process. There is humility in consistency. It does not demand recognition. It does not rush results. It accepts that improvement takes time, and that respect is built gradually. Those who rely on explanations often seek immediate understanding. Those who rely on effort are willing to let time speak for them. The world is patient with beginners, but it grows impatient with stagnation, disguised as reasoning. At some point, reasons stop mattering. What matters is whether growth is happening. Consistent effort answers that question without words. It removes the need to defend oneself. It replaces explanation with evidence. Respect does not come from being impressive once. It comes from being dependable over time. It comes from showing up on ordinary days, in unseen moments when no one is keeping score. It comes from choosing effort again after failure, discipline again after discouragement, and responsibility again after disappointment. People who earn respect rarely talk about how hard things are, not because things are easy for them, but because they have learned that effort speaks more clearly than explanation. They let their work, their growth, and their persistence carry the message. Over time, consistent effort builds a quiet authority. Others begin to listen, not because they are persuaded, but because they trust. Trust grows where consistency lives, and where trust exists, respect naturally follows. Excuses may comfort the mind, but consistency builds credibility. It is easy to explain away failure, to justify why something wasn't done, to give reasons that make us feel less guilty for what we avoided. Excuses can soothe pride, ease discomfort, and temporarily preserve a sense of self-respect. They are seductive because they allow a person to avoid the hard work of showing up, of doing the difficult, of being accountable. Yet, no matter how reasonable an excuse sounds, it never earns trust, it never builds momentum, and it never changes a life for the better. Consistency, on the other hand, may feel tedious, even unnoticed in the moment. It rarely carries the excitement of a dramatic announcement or the comfort of an explanation, but it is far more powerful. Day after day, when a person chooses to act rather than rationalize, when they take responsibility rather than deflect blame, they're quietly establishing credibility. This credibility does not need applause, recognition, or approval. It speaks for itself. Others notice patterns more than they notice speeches. Reliability over time matters far more than brilliance in a single moment. Excuses are often rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort. They provide temporary shelter from accountability. They can make a person feel justified in their lack of progress, but they do nothing to move them forward. Life does not respond to reasons. It responds to results. Consistency transforms fear into discipline because it moves action ahead of emotion. It teaches a person that they are stronger than their hesitation, braver than their doubt, and capable beyond their excuses. Many people pull themselves into believing that as long as they have good reasons, they are still in control. They speak of circumstances, of timing, of obstacles, and of the people around them. Some of these reasons are valid, yet repeated explanations become a substitute for action. The world listens politely to excuses the first time, sometimes the second, but respect, trust, and credibility are not granted based on explanations. They are built on repeated behavior. Over time, excuses wear thin, and the world begins to judge by patterns, not words. Consistency, on the other hand, may not seem glamorous, but it is compelling. When someone continues to act faithfully despite setbacks, fatigue, or doubt, they are demonstrating reliability in its purest form. That reliability accumulates like invisible currency. Each day of showing up, each effort made when it would be easier to quit, each choice to push forward instead of rationalize, deposits respect that cannot be easily taken away. It is quiet, persistent, and undeniable. Consistency also changes a person from the inside out. Excuses reinforce avoidance. They teach the mind to find reasons, not to try, to delay, to explain instead of execute. Consistency trains character, strengthens willpower, and builds self-respect. A person who is faithful to their commitments, even when no one is watching, develops an internal authority that cannot be shaken by circumstances. In time, their actions define them more than any justification ever could. It is often said that people overestimate what can be done in a day and underestimate what can be accomplished over time. This is why consistency matters. One day of effort may not impress anyone, but hundreds of repeated days quietly shape a reputation. Small, deliberate actions accumulate. They prove reliability. They build trust. They show that when challenges arrive, this person will not vanish. They will persist, adapt, and continue to grow. Excuses, by contrast, never create momentum. They only postpone the inevitable confrontation with reality. Many people wait for perfect conditions before they act. They wait until fear is gone, until circumstances are easier, until confidence arrives. Excuses sound logical in those moments, but life does not wait. Growth happens in the context of imperfection, difficulty, and uncertainty. Consistency works within reality. It does not wait for ideal circumstances. It shows up, it moves forward, it persists. Over time, the person who chooses action over rationalization becomes known for their dependability. Others begin to trust them, rely on them, and respect them because their pattern of effort cannot be ignored. Excuses may comfort for a season, but they ultimately erode credibility. People who rely on excuses risk stagnation, disappointment, and the slow erosion of self-respect. Consistency, however, builds a foundation that no circumstances can easily shake. It demonstrates character without words. It proves intention through action. It allows a person to wake up each day confident that their life is being shaped by choices, not just explanations. In the end, the world pays attention to what is done more than what is said. Excuses may ease the conscience for a moment, but consistent effort earns respect over a lifetime. People remember who kept showing up, who kept improving, who kept improving, who kept improving forward, even when no one was watching. Daily action, repeated faithfully, outlasts explanations and transforms both perception and reality. It is the quiet work of consistency, not the comfort of excuses, that builds credibility and commands respect. Daily improvement speaks louder than promises or intentions. It is easy to talk about change, to make grand statements about who we want to be, what we want to achieve, and how different our lives could be. Words are comforting. They make us feel like progress is already underway, even when nothing has changed. But the truth is, life responds not to what we say we will do, but to what we actually do every day. Promises are empty unless they are accompanied by action, and intentions remain powerless until they are translated into effort. Many people overestimate the power of ambition while underestimating the power of habit. It is easy to make a declaration. I will be better. I will succeed. I will change. These statements feel significant, even inspirational, but they mean little if yesterday's choices and today's routines remain the same. Growth is quiet, incremental, and often invisible at first. It is forged in repetition, in small acts of discipline, in decisions made when no one is watching and no immediate reward is visible. Those who understand this know that improvement is not dramatic, it is persistent. Daily improvement is a practice of integrity. It is showing up even when you do not feel like it, doing what is right, even when it is difficult, choosing effort over comfort. Each day offers the opportunity to become a little stronger, a little wiser, a little more disciplined. Small adjustments repeated faithfully accumulate into significant transformation over time. This is the reason why action matters more than promises. Action builds evidence. Action produces results. Action shapes identity. Words alone cannot achieve what persistent effort accomplishes. Many people delay improvement, waiting for motivation or inspiration to arrive. They wait for the right time, the right circumstances, or the perfect conditions. Yet life does not pause for readiness. Each day that passes without meaningful effort is a day spent drifting, reinforcing old habits and deepening patterns that may be difficult to change later. Those who grow steadily do not wait for perfect conditions. They act with what is available, learning, adjusting, and building momentum one day at a time. Promises and intentions are easily forgotten, especially in times of stress, distraction, or challenge. Daily action is more reliable because it is grounded in discipline rather than emotion. It is possible to intend all day and accomplish nothing. It is impossible to improve daily without evidence of effort. Each task completed, each choice made toward growth, each step taken toward better habits is a demonstration of commitment that cannot be ignored. Over time, this creates credibility, confidence, and a life that reflects the intentions once only spoken. Daily improvement is also a shield against regret. Many people look back and lament what could have been, focusing on missed opportunities, wasted time, and broken promises. Yet the remedy is simple. What you do consistently today determines how you will feel tomorrow. Even small, deliberate actions repeated faithfully can prevent years of regret, because each step forward compounds. Improvement is not instantaneous, but it is cumulative. It transforms not just circumstances, but character, resilience, and perspective. The challenge is that daily improvement is not always exciting. It is not flashy or dramatic. It often lacks recognition or applause, but significance is not measured by attention. It is measured by effect. A single day of doing what is right may feel insignificant, but thousands of such days form a life of substance. What looks ordinary to the world often holds extraordinary power when practiced consistently. People who understand this do not chase recognition. They chase growth. They understand that progress is quiet but unrelenting. Daily improvement also teaches humility. It reminds a person that transformation is rarely sudden. It is not accomplished through one inspirational moment or a single bold decision. It is forged through patience, discipline, and repetition. Each day presents new opportunities and new challenges. Some days are easier than others. Some days feel like setbacks, and some days feel like triumphs. The key is to act regardless of circumstances, knowing that the compound effect of persistent effort is greater than the sum of its parts. Those who rely on promises and intentions alone often become frustrated. They see others achieving, progressing, and growing while they remain stagnant. They assume they are trying, but they are only hoping. Daily improvement is what separates hope from reality. It transforms desire into reality, potential into achievement, and intention into impact. The world respects those who move forward consistently, even when results are slow, more than those who speak loudly but act rarely. Ultimately, daily improvement creates momentum. It builds confidence, strengthens skill, and shapes identity. Each repeated action reinforces habits that define character. Each incremental gain compounds over time. What may seem small today becomes the foundation of tomorrow's success. It is this quiet, relentless dedication to bettering oneself every single day that leaves a mark, commands respect, and transforms a life in ways promises never could. The world watches actions over time, not words in moments. It is easy to speak with passion, to make promises, to declare intentions. Words can inspire for a moment, they can rally attention, and they can impress others with the strength of our ideas. But words are fleeting. They fade in memory, they are weighed against patterns, and they often reveal themselves to be hollow and not supported by consistent action. What lasts is what is done repeatedly, not what is said once in a moment of emotion. Many people underestimate how carefully life observes them. They assume that if their words sound convincing, if their intentions are noble, that others will respect them. Yet the world does not measure virtue in speeches or statements. It measures reliability. It measures whether a person can be counted on day after day, whether they respond to difficulty with integrity, whether they follow through when no one is watching. Action over time is the true proof of character. Consistency is the language in which life speaks. Each repeated effort, each small step taken faithfully, communicates more powerfully than any promise ever could. One person can speak eloquently about ambition, hope, and dreams, while another quietly builds practices and improves daily. The quiet builder gains respect, influence, and authority, not because they shouted, but because they showed up when it mattered. Their life becomes testimony to their reliability, while words alone cannot convey the same weight. Excuses often mask the truth that action is lacking. People explain why things cannot be done, why circumstances are unfair, or why they could not meet a goal. Excuses can sound reasonable, even persuasive, but over time they lose credibility. Repeated explanations cannot replace repeated effort. Others notice patterns far more than they notice arguments. The world respects the one who continues to move forward despite obstacles more than the one who talks about obstacles repeatedly. Actions over time create momentum. When a person commits to improving, learning, and persevering, daily small achievements accumulate into substantial results. One day of showing up may go unnoticed, but months and years of consistent effort cannot be ignored. It is this accumulation that turns ordinary people into figures of respect. The world does not respect intention in isolation. It respects follow-through. It sees effort, dedication, and growth and responds with recognition, trust, and influence. Many people wait for dramatic moments to act, believing that success requires spectacular effort. They hesitate until conditions are perfect, until fear is gone, until motivation is fully present. Yet transformation and respect are seldom the result of a single grand act. They are forged in repetition, in ordinary moments when a person chooses discipline over comfort, responsibility over avoidance, persistence over excuses. Action over time is what creates results, not the fleeting excitement of inspiration. It is also important to recognize that daily actions shape more than how others see us. They shape how we see ourselves. Each repeated choice strengthens habits, molds character, and builds confidence. When a person responds with courage, patience, and diligence day after day, their identity begins to reflect those qualities. Life is not merely an accumulation of experiences. It is the product of repeated behavior. Words alone cannot shape character. Actions over time do. Respect comes quietly to those who act consistently. It does not arrive in a single moment of recognition, but in the gradual acknowledgement of reliability, competence, and integrity. Others learn that this person can be depended upon. They observe how challenges are met, how commitments are kept, how improvements are made steadily. Over time, trust is built, influence grows, and credibility becomes unshakable. The world honors those who act consistently because their lives provide proof of what they claim, even when circumstances are difficult. Many people fail to grasp the power of small, persistent actions. They think that influence, respect, or success requires visible heroics, grand gestures, or dramatic victories. Yet the quiet, faithful steps taken daily often accomplish more than spectacular efforts do. In a fleeting moment, repetition compounds, progress accumulates. Discipline and consistency, though seemingly ordinary, create lives that cannot be overlooked or denied. The danger of relying on words alone is that they create the illusion of progress. A person may feel accomplished after speaking about goals, intentions, or plans, while in reality, nothing has changed. Life, however, observes differently. It notices patterns. It notices what is done repeatedly, and it adjusts its response accordingly. The world's respect is earned slowly, not promised through rhetoric. Each action is a deposit into the account of credibility. while excuses and words without follow-through are withdrawals that leave nothing behind. When daily actions are aligned with purpose, integrity, and effort, respect becomes inevitable. It does not depend on charm, persuasion, or explanation. It depends on reliability. It depends on visible, sustained effort that others can witness and trust. The world remembers who continues to act faithfully, who persists when discouraged, and who chooses imprevent. And over stagnation, actions over time are the language in which respect is spoken, and this language is louder, clearer, and more enduring than any promise uttered in a fleeting moment. Discipline practiced quietly commands respect publicly. It is a truth that few understand because the world often celebrates what is visible, loud, and dramatic, while quietly overlooking what is steady, persistent, and unseen. Discipline does not announce itself in grand gestures or dramatic statements. It is not proven by intentions or aspirations. It is proven by the choices a person makes repeatedly, often when no one is watching and often when doing the right thing feels difficult or uncomfortable. That is where true respect is earned, through a quiet fidelity to principles and purpose. Many people misunderstand discipline. They think it is a rigid structure, a harsh set of rules, or a burden imposed from outside. In reality, discipline is a form of freedom. It is the power to act according to purpose rather than impulse, to prioritize according to purpose rather than impulse, to prioritize some long-term gain over short-term comfort, to choose progress when temptation suggests delay. The person who exercises discipline learns to master self rather than be mastered by circumstance. It is not flashy, but it is powerful. Public respect is rarely immediate. It is built over time, observation by observation, through evidence of consistent choices. When a person develops habits of reliability, integrity, and perseverance, those habits speak louder than any words could. Others begin to notice that promises are kept, commitments are honored, and effort is unshakable. Respect emerges not from one act, but from a pattern of acts. Discipline practiced in private eventually produces credibility in public. Excuses, by contrast, erode respect. People who explain their failures, rationalize their shortcomings, or blame circumstances may feel justified, but they are not admired. The world pays attention to results and patterns, not reasons and explanations. A person who quietly does what must be done, regardless of comfort or recognition, earns trust. People remember those who continue to act faithfully, who persist even when discouraged, and who refuse to let circumstances dictate character. Daily discipline shapes character in ways that are not immediately visible. Each choice to do the right thing strengthens resolve. Each instance of persistence reinforces confidence. Each act of responsibility builds reliability. Over time, these small, often invisible actions compound, producing habits that define the individual. The world may not see every effort, but it recognizes the cumulative result. When a person consistently acts with purpose and integrity, respect becomes inevitable. Discipline also protects against failure and regret. Many people drift through life relying on motivation, luck, or inspiration. When challenges arise, they are unprepared. When temptation comes, they falter. But the disciplined person who has practiced consistency and self-control in ordinary moments faces adversity with steadiness. Habits built quietly provide the strength to endure trials and to act rightly even when it is hard. That strength is visible and commands respect. The temptation to seek immediate recognition is strong. People want praise for their effort, validation for their intentions, or acknowledgement for their intentions, or acknowledgement for their potential. But real respect does not require fanfare. It comes from repeated action, the kind that does not seek attention. It comes from doing what is right because it must be done, not because it will be noticed. Discipline does its work silently, and the results speak loudly. Consistency is the companion of discipline. One day of self-control, one act of responsibility, one moment of courage may not make a lasting impression. But repeated over time, these actions form a life of substance. The quiet decisions, the choices made when no one is observing, eventually shape public perception. People begin to trust, admire, and rely on those who demonstrate reliability, and that trust is the foundation of respect. Many people avoid discipline because it feels difficult, uncomfortable, or limiting. They confuse effort with deprivation. They seek comfort, convenience, and ease. But discipline, properly understood, is empowerment. It allows a person to act in alignment with purpose, to resist fleeting impulses that derail progress, and to invest in growth that lasts. The small sacrifices made daily produce results that are far greater than any immediate pleasure. Those results command attention and respect in ways that excuses and explanations never will. Discipline also teaches patience. Respect is rarely given instantly. It is earned slowly, over repeated observations and consistent effort. People notice when actions are reliable, when commitments are fulfilled, when improvement is steady. They remember those who continue to persevere in quiet moments and reward that consistency with trust, admiration, and regard. Discipline creates a reputation that no words alone can build. Finally, discipline connects action to purpose. Without purpose, effort can feel aimless. Without consistency, action can feel scattered. When a person combines steady discipline with clear intent, every act becomes meaningful, every effort contributes to growth, and every day adds to a pattern that is impossible to ignore. Public respect is a natural consequence of this alignment. People may not see the early struggles, the daily sacrifices, or the unseen moments of choice, but they will see the results, and those results command respect. The quiet, consistent practice of discipline transforms both the individual and how they are perceived. It produces competence, reliability, and credibility. It shapes habits that define character, creates resilience that endures challenges, and builds a reputation that speaks louder than words ever could. Those who understand this do not seek attention or recognition prematurely. They understand that true respect is not given to those who explain themselves well, but to those who act faithfully, persistently, and with integrity day after day.